Hi, this is Marty Bean of Be The Runner. I'm going to talk to you about arm mechanics today. Arm mechanics are a very important part of running form, and they're very easy to fix if you're not doing it right. First, I'm going to show you how to do it right, then I'm going to show you common mistakes people make, and then I'm going to show you how to fix those mistakes. The first step to getting your arm mechanics right is to form a 90-degree angle at your elbow, just like this. That 90-degree angle is going to stay 90 degrees throughout the entire arm swing. The next step is to imagine someone has played pin the tail on the donkey with your arm, sticking it into your shoulder with a thumbtack right here. The reason you do that is your arm is simply going to rotate around this spot, just like this. If you look at it from the front, just my right arm, you'll see that my hand does come across in front of my body a little bit, but it doesn't come as far as the middle of my body, only right to here. As far as how far you swing your arm, start off by using the maximum arc that you can. Go all the way back, then all the way up about even with your nose. All the way back, then even with your nose. This is an exaggerated arm swing that a sprinter would use. If you're doing distance running, you're going to use the same arc, but just at a lesser amplitude, down here like this. Now let's talk about some common mistakes people make. One of the most common mistakes is that people will carry their arms instead of swing them. They'll put their arms here in approximately the right position, but they won't move them. Instead, in order to stay balanced as they run, they move their whole body. Here's what it looks like from the side. If you're twisting your torso that much, you're using a lot of energy just to pull it back into place. Every time you rotate this way, now your torso's rotated to the left, it takes muscle energy to pull it all the way back to the right, and now you're way too far to the right. So you end up using all this energy to move your torso back and forth. Another common mistake that runners make in their arm mechanics is they bend their arms too far, beyond the 90 degrees, like this. And you'll see people running like this. This is using a lot of energy from your bicep muscle to hold your arm up like that. Again, keep it at 90 degrees. Finally, another common mistake that I often make myself is I bring my arms up and I bring my shoulders up around my neck like this. Look at all this muscle tension up here that's actually using energy that you could be using in your running instead. Now I'm going to show you how to fix most of the common problems that you might have with your arm swing. The first thing to know is that you can work on it while you're out for your run, but that's a little bit harder, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But the easiest thing to do is to find a mirror in your house and use that mirror to watch what you're doing. When you're actually doing it correctly, your brain makes a connection with your body, so you start to remember that and you start to do it more naturally. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm first going to find a mirror so that I can stand in front of it and watch what I'm doing. The first thing I'm going to work on is the 90-degree angle of my elbow. So in order to do this, I'm going to turn to the side, like this, and I'm going to put my arm where I think it should go. I'm going to look at that, I'm going to check that 90-degree angle, and I'm going to swing it in the arc swing. And I'm going to watch to make sure that it stays in the 90-degree angle throughout the arc. Then I'm going to turn the other way and check the other arm. 90-degree angle, stays 90-degree angle all the way through the arc. Along the same lines as working with your 90-degree angle of your arm swing, you can turn to the side and you can look at the arc that your arm is swinging to make sure that you're not just carrying your arms. 90-degree angle, and just watch your arm swing. Start off with exaggerated motion, and you can do it with one arm or both arms. But remember, this is the exaggerated sprinter's arm swing. Do it in slow motion first, right in front of the mirror so you're watching what you're doing. Then pick up the speed to a more normal pace. And then you can reduce the arc down to where a distance runner should be swinging their arms. So slow motion first, exaggerated arc, then you can pick up the speed, and then back down to where an endurance runner should be running. And you can experiment with this. You can try different ways. You can speed it up, you can slow it down, you can increase the arc, you can decrease the arc. Try these things in front of the mirror so you can see how you're doing it and you can feel it at the same time. Okay, the next thing I'm going to check is for my torso twisting from side to side. Again, I'm going to turn to the side, I'm going to look in that mirror, and again, I'm going to set my elbow so I have the 90-degree angle at my elbow. Now I'm just going to do this on one side, but of course you'd want to do it on both sides. So this is my left arm. I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to put that right hand just to the front of my shoulder like this. Now what I should see when I look in the mirror is that this hand is not going to move. If you're swinging your torso back and forth, it's going to move like this, and that's not good. So instead, this hand should stay very stable and almost motionless. See how I'm swinging my arm? My hand is not changing. And this is the kind of thing you can watch yourself do it in the mirror, and you can easily see if that hand is moving or not. The last thing I want to touch on for now is related to the twisting of the torso. And what a lot of people do is they'll bring their hands too far across their body, and you can see my torso ends up twisting like this. So what I like to do is to tell people to imagine that they have a sofa cushion that's glued to their chest. Let me demonstrate. You have a sofa cushion here like this, and imagine it's actually attached to your chest. Now, when you swing your arm, you can bring it across your body a little bit, but only enough so that it would touch this imaginary, not so imaginary right now, it would just touch this sofa cushion as you swing your arm each time up like this. So here's with sofa cushion, obviously. Now if I still imagine I have that sofa cushion here, my hands are going to come across and just barely touch where that sofa cushion would be. If you do this, then your torso won't be twisting back and forth too much. The last thing I want to cover is working on your arm swing while you're actually out for a run. Now, it's important to understand that you can't concentrate on this all the time. So pick little segments where you're going to work on your arm swing until you start to get it right. So one thing you can do, when you're running, you're not looking straight down at the ground like this. You're looking out at some point out ahead of you along a path or a track or the sidewalk. So what I find is that if I'm doing my arm swing just right, which I've learned from practicing in front of the mirror, I can just barely see my hands come into my field of view, into my peripheral vision. So when I'm working on my arms, I'll pay special attention to whether I can see my hands or not. Now another thing I like to do is when I'm running along a path and if the sun is directly behind me, I can see my shadow on the path. When you can see your shadow on the path, it's almost as good as using a mirror because you're seeing exactly what your arms and your hands are doing, as well as the rest of your running form. So pay special attention to that if you happen to be running along a path when the sun is directly behind you. And that's another little trick you can do to work on your arms. So that's it for arm mechanics. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below, or you can email me at marty@betherunner.com. Thanks for watching.